you're going to see a really, really significant focus on us operating as CrossFit over the next 12 to 18 or foreseeable future. There is one company here, right? And if we're going to get to where we all know we can go, it's going to be through what got us here, right? And we cannot forget what made us who we are, because that's going to get us to where we want to go.
Welcome to the Best Hour of Their Day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the Best Hour of Your Day. All right, guys, welcome back. Best Hour of Their Day. We are here at CrossFit Rife. Two special guests, Austin Malleolo, Gary Gaines. Just did a workout. You guys came down for the day to do a podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll do quick intros. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Austin, you've been on the podcast before. But go ahead and give a little intro from where you started and what you do now for CrossFit Home Office.
So Austin Malleolo, I'm the Director of North America Gym Operations. So really just taking care of our affiliates in North America and what that looks like from just, operational stuff to, being here in a gym.
Yeah.
And everything in between. Been a part of CrossFit for, over 10 years, from coaching, owning gyms, seminar staff, competing.
Patrick Burt, Austin Malleolo, I think, is ahead of Patrick Burt.
He is.
He looks like Patrick had a no rep there.
Graham's at his bar now.
But he got that one. And Austin Malleolo doing an incredible job.
There's
Austin Malleolo.
Looks like a 415.
So
400? How we're at?
Yeah, over 400 seminars in total, level 1s and level 2s. So
That's more than a couple.
Yeah, more than a couple. Yeah, 10 years on the road, so it's a lot less of that now, but it was pretty awesome.
Are you still doing seminars?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
It's been about a year since I've done an official seminar.
All right. What does CrossFit Lecture go?
What is CrossFit? Variance, functionality, intensity. We could do it. So I believe that my record was giving the level 1 in like 10 minutes. Someone, could I do
the
it?
whole thing?
The whole thing, just
the whole
spark notes.
2 days worth.
Yeah,
cool.
Remember nothing, but stay alive.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Gary.
Yeah, I'm Gary Gaines, and I'm the general manager of global affiliates at CrossFit. And so what that includes is our international markets, and then of course domestically here. I work very closely with Austin and try and create value and support and resources for our affiliates. And I'm an extension of them at the table at headquarters, and vice versa, an extension of corporate in the field. And we try and get out as often as possible. And it's funny you ask if he's doing seminars. He's got his hands full coaching me when we're on the road, as you just saw in that previous workout.
We worked out, and Austin definitely might have beaten us both in a couple of rounds, but it was all right.
It was a short man workout.
It was. It was very much in your wheelhouse. But so your job specifically. So you've been with CrossFit for
year and a half. So about a month after the transaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when people kind of think of head of global affiliates, can you elaborate just to give people a little bit more context? There's like, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean for me? And who is this dude?
So the responsibility, if I had to break it down, so outside of the U.S., so originally when I came in, Eric had a vision of creating 3 revenue-generating verticals and having a business leader for each. So, Dave, as you know, was overseeing the sport function. Nicole Carroll oversees the education function. There was a gentleman by the name of Josh Weisberg that was overseeing the affiliate vertical. And then there was this hole outside of the U.S. Because everything was over-indexed in North America.
Right.
Because this is where predominantly our affiliates fall. And so he wanted a business leader over the international business lines. And so originally I had affiliates, sport, and education outside of the U.S.
Okay.
Josh exited the company. He came in and consolidated the affiliate vertical with the international markets. And so basically oversee the affiliate vertical and kind of what our guiding principle is how we create value for our affiliates and act as an unquestioned business partner for them.
Got it.
Right? How can they get through the day and know that they've got a resource and a partner to navigate this journey at headquarters?
And that's kind of why I asked, and again, I'm super thankful that you guys made the trip down here. I know you guys are busy, and I know this is a big deal to take time out of your schedule to come here and do this. So that's really where I wanted to, and where a lot of people have questions is like, okay, we've obviously had a lot of changes over the past 2 years, even over the past several months. And I think the burning question on people's minds is like, what now?
Yeah.
But I do, I actually am very curious. So I actually want to go back a little bit. So when you came on board, and so when you made the transition, when you came in, was Austin, did you already have the role that you had?
No. So I came in about a year ago now.
Yeah. Okay.
So a year is when I transitioned to this role.
Okay.
So, and Gary and I, we were, chatting up towards really like end of, about a year and a couple of months ago at this point. We were in close contact, chatting up, and then, everything kind of came to fruition around this time.
Okay. So when you come in, what I'm curious is about, they bring you on and they're like, hey, we want you to, to kind of rein this thing.
Yeah.
What's your initial evaluation of the affiliate space, like when you show up?
Yeah.
Right. I'm very curious about that.
I think a bit of context is appropriate.
Okay.
So I have a career in operations. So I spent time at 12 years at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I spent time at Tesla, and then Lyft, and most recently prior to this role, Chief Operating Officer at SoulCycle.
Mm-hmm.
All along that journey, personally, CrossFit was my modality of choice, so my outlet.
We talked before, you said you started like 2008.
Yeah.
So not a stranger to CrossFit.
Not a stranger. It's super passionate about it, and I think like most of us, it's where you just empty your head and really try and get back to neutral. And so that was my outlet. And so when Eric acquired the company, a mentor of mine, who actually acts as co-chair right now for the board, who I worked with at Tesla, reached out and introduced me to Eric. And so that started a series of conversations over the course of 2 months. And I was reluctant to join because I didn't know if I could mix the personal and the professional. And I always like to be objective in my decision making. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. And so after deciding that I'd rather help something I'm so passionate about than kind of stay away from attacking the challenge, I decided to come on board. And the first thing I was introduced to was 6 country managers. Like I mentioned before, I only had international purview. 6 country managers that worked incredibly hard to try and provide value to affiliates. And they didn't have really much resource, but they had so much passion, incredible work ethic. A majority of them, 5 of 6 were seminar staff. Okay. And the 6th being Daniel Chaffee, who is the owner of CrossFit Louvre.
He's a dude.
Yeah, absolute dude. Polarizing dude, but one I love. And so they quickly accepted me in, and we started really trying to fight for resources. They had compiled years of requests on what they thought they needed.
To walk with a stack of papers.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's
here's
like,
the problems you need to solve.
This is what we asked for 2 years ago. But they quantified it, and they backed it up. They had ROI attached to it, and they were really thoughtful. And so I'm just so pleased to be able to sit on behalf of them at the table and be able to fight for those resources. So we unlocked a significant amount of resources early. That team that originally was 6 has turned into about 85 people today. Okay. When I took over the affiliate vertical, I'll never forget it, October 29th, 3,365 of our affiliates were either past due or unsigned, meaning they were not current affiliates. Right. And so that's over 30% of our portfolio. And so we went on a campaign, not to try and collect the money, but to reach out and talk about how we could help these affiliates get to the other side of the pandemic. And, the tireless work ethic of the team, over 5,000 phone calls, having these really, really emotional conversations. And the goal was letting the affiliate know, listen, we're here. And we're going to hold your hand. We're going to get to the other side of this pandemic together. But we're partners in this. Right. And so I guess to answer your question quickly, we, in my opinion, had an obligation to create relationships with affiliates and know that they had a voice at the table, and somebody was representing them. And this wasn't a model that we would reach out once a year for your affiliate fee, but one we would continuously reach out and check for updates. And if you had questions, feedback, or requests, we would receive that inbound, and we would do something about it. Whether we could action or not, we would tell you. Yeah. And so that servant kind of partnership is what I like to create, and the team I think embodies today. Okay.
I was just curious, like, what that looked like on your end. So the reason I'm asking this question is because I do think the process of understanding, like, what was wrong to figure out where we're going to go is fairly important. So you sit down at the table with Austin, you're like, hey, I want you to come in and do North America. Were you guys able to establish, like, hey, here's our top 3 priorities that we need to address right out of the gate?
Yes, it was a simple conversation. So I at an early stage at CrossFit learned that if I was going to build a team, it had to be a team that had built equity within the community. because I have never been an affiliate owner, and I know that. And so I don't have all the answers, and I can't really in detail have conversations with affiliate owners about the struggles that they face. And so I built a team of really incredibly talented people that are affiliate owners, seminar staff, former flow masters, all within the ecosystem. And the simple guiding principle or question that we were trying to answer was, what does it mean to be a CrossFit affiliate? If you asked affiliates, call it 10 affiliates when we got here a year and a half ago, what it meant to be a CrossFit affiliate, you'd get 10 different answers. All of them may be very powerful, but they weren't consistent. What we needed to create is some consistency on what it meant to be a CrossFit affiliate. What is that value proposition? What do you get for your license fee? Not saying that we're trying to justify it, but you need to be able to confidently stand behind what you pay for. And so that's what we strive to do on a daily basis. And that was a question we sought out to answer a year and a half ago.
And then, not to be crass, but like, how's that going?
Really well. So we sent out a survey. I think that was probably the first course of action, because we needed to hear from the affiliates on what they needed. Business resources, leveraging our brand to provide preferred pricing across the ecosystem, having an outlet for them to share feedback, both personal and professional, with their peer group was something that came out.
So we're talking about APN and roundtables.
Roundtables, yep, and the playbook.
And the playbook,
And then, of course, CAP, programming, right? And so how do we really create consistency and quality across the ecosystem? We always hear when you drop into boxes, there's a gym down the street that may not be focused on quality, that has a negative impact on my brand perception and the people that walk through my doors. And we understand that challenge. Our model doesn't allow us to mandate principles, and will never be that way.
I did have a question on that. So I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this too. Just the idea of quality assurance. I don't want to say it's silly, but it's not practical in the space. It's just not. This is not a franchise. We talked before. It's not going to be a franchise model. We're not moving in that direction. I think it's the wrong focus point, but I'd be curious to hear both of your inputs on it.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's we've been hearing this for 10 years, right? It's like from the at seminars and affiliates, is that hey, there's this gym down the road, and someone walked in and had a bad experience, and that gives everyone this notion of a negative connotation associated with CrossFit. But I always try to ask the question to any affiliate owners: why did you start? Why did you become an affiliate? Why? There's something that brought you to CrossFit. 'Cause you could have just opened up a gym, but when you pull it back, it's like, well, one, we love CrossFit, the methodology. There's purpose behind it. It most likely changed your life. Someone that lives that changed impacted you so much that you went and started doing it, and now you want to give it to others. Something special there. But also, you were never told what to do. And we're a community of wonderful contrarians, right? And what that means is that we don't like to be told what to do. In fact, when we're told what to do, we get angry. When we think we're told what to do, we get even angrier, right? We get it, right? But so with that, there is there's always another side to that, where and the cream will rise to the top, and there is beauty to that. We all need to get better. We all started out bad trainers. And what breaks my heart is when I hear it's like, well, the level one's not enough. I'm like, man, if the level one wasn't enough, I wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't be here today.
Correct.
And you know what? Think about driving. Were any one of us good drivers at 16 years old? Absolutely not. But we had to start. And how do we get better at driving? We drove. Yet none of us, unless you are professional drivers. We're okay, but if we wanted to then take it to another level to potentially train other drivers, we would have to then really invest in ourselves and have a support system and learn and grow. It would be a job, because no one would come to me as a guy that's been driving for 15 years to learn how to drive. Yes, my kids will learn from me. Well, they don't, it's like, great, I'm one for one and maybe not that good, right? So when we think, and the reason why I say that is we need to remember that when it comes to our job as coaches in an affiliate, is that we have the ability to open up, and we have the ability to really run our business however we'd like, and there's beauty to that. And that's what's so special and so entrepreneurial and so egalitarian about CrossFit. But it's on you to be better, and it's on you to inspire others around you to be better. And that's what's important. What separates you from other gyms, it's not how clean your floors are or how high your ceilings are. It's how good you are.
Right.
And the only way to do that is for you to continually push yourself. And it goes back to caring, right? People are like, what's the most important aspect a CrossFit coach can have, an affiliate owner can have? It sounds corny, but it's care. You got to give a shit.
Right.
Why? Because that will drive you to get your level 2, to get your level 3, to get all of your staff upskilled, to give them professional development each week, to actually make the business decision to put more into education than something else.
Right.
Because on paper, you might be like, well, what would make sense is for me to spend money on this or that, because it might bring more revenue in. Because on paper, that makes sense. But you know, your only product is the class that's happening in front of you and the people that are walking in the door. And they are your best marketing. So you have to give everything you have. And so that's a really long answer of saying is that it doesn't matter what's happening down the road if you are the best. And what you do has no bearing on anyone else. It's not, man, I don't like them or I like them. This is what I'm going to give it all I have. And that, and the reality is if you look at success across any sector, that's always the case. And the minute you start to worry about others is usually when good things aren't happening. Right? When you worry about things you cannot control, I've never heard of a scenario where that works out well.
I was just talking to somebody about this, and the concept is like eyes on your own paper.
Yeah.
Which is like, hey, listen, like you're never going to get where you want to go if you're looking at other people's stuff. Just focus on your own stuff. And I think there's the same way I treat the affiliate, there's always like at least 1% of the gripe that's probably valid, right? So I do think this is like, okay, yes, there is some beauty to this model, which is like, you can do whatever you want. Like, that's totally fine. But I don't think it would be wrong if we were to cast a little bit of at least critical feedback and say, well, I get it. However, no help probably isn't the answer to that either. And I think, and that's where I think I can see the wheel spinning there, and I see the resources going to that. And I think, that's where I think a lot of people have a lot of hope, but still uneasy about it because, like, all right, we've seen some initiatives kind of come and go, and I mean, if you've been in any industry, like that's just the way it goes. Like, you don't hit home runs on everything.
So. I would add, listen, when you look at our competitive advantage, it's the coached workout, right? It's the coach backed by the most effective methodology in fitness, hands down, proven, right? We can quantify that. So it's our obligation in an effort to be an unquestioned business partner is how do we provide resources to upskill the coach? And so where we over-indexed on business resources in year one and the first year and a half of us coming in, the next, call it year, 2 years, we're going to really focus on the coach. How do we focus on development, progression, both personally and professionally of that position? And through that strategy, we will be able to uplift quality. And that's how we'll do it. All along the while, these affiliates still having the environment, the culture, the member experience that is focused on what they want to do, right? So when you walk into a gym, you want that unique experience. But when you're taking that class, you want an incredibly talented coach that's going to help you, get through that workout in the most effective way.
No, I agree with you. And we kind of alluded to this before, but I do think it's worth saying in this forum that where I think maybe there was a misstep, and this is my own observation from afar, right? So it could very well be incorrect. But what I saw as a bit of a misstep is, honestly, it's the same mistake that we see affiliate owners make when they either acquire a gym or open a gym, is rather than doubling down on the thing that got you there, they're like, hey, I'm going to try something else to make some other shiny things and create a leverage elsewhere. And I'm like starting a nutrition program or doing Facebook ads or spending too much time on your retail, like whatever that is, instead of just being, listen, if you just create better coaches and create an awesome experience, as cliche as best hour of people's day when they come into the affiliate, do that, master that first. Then you can worry about the other things. And
you're exactly right.
And this is what, and where I was going to go with that is that where I saw the misstep was, I believe whatever CrossFit's success, that road is paved with red shirts, meaning the seminar team. And I was laying in bed last night thinking about it. Hey, are you awake? And it would, because the Super Bowl just happened. I said, well, we think about the Super Bowl and the teams and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, what's the most important part of, you played football, of the NFL? And be like, well, the teams and the coaches. I'm like, wrong. It's the football. You cannot have the game without the football.
You play to win the game. Hello?
Everything revolves around this thing, and that's how I see the level one. Everything is a branch off from that. I mean, at its core, CrossFit is a training company. So affiliates, you have to go through level one. If you want to coach, you want to go through level one. The games is built on the back of the level one. Like, all of it is built on the back of the level one. And that's where I think they should have just dumped everything in front of there. And just be like, listen, take this cohort of people and figure out how to leverage them. Put them in front of as many people as possible. Have them throw as many ideas out there. Like, listen to them, and they will be the litmus test for all the ideas.
Yeah, and I think so. An outcome of creating 3 separate revenue-generating verticals or support structures is you having your own goal, your own vision, your own products and initiative, right? And so when I was overseeing the gym function, it's like, well, gyms requested business resources. We're going to double down on business resources, almost at the expense of remembering where we came from, right? And Nicole and EDU really focuses on the training aspect. You're going to see a really, really significant focus on us operating as CrossFit over the next 12 to 18 or foreseeable future. There is one company here, right? And if we're going to get to where we all know we can go, it's going to be through what got us here, right? And we cannot forget what made us who we are, because that's going to get us to where we want to go. We've got 200 red shirts.
Yeah, globally.
I think that's rough, give or take.
Globally, all super talented individuals that have given everything they've had to spread this methodology to the global community, and they understand how to operate an affiliate. They understand how to coach the methodology. Why not leverage those to help us get to continue to grow our footprint. But what we need to do, and what we're starting to do, is really break down those verticals and act as one team, right? And we leverage each other's resources. There was a win-back campaign that we kicked off last year to try and get back our affiliates
I remember that.
departed, right? And Austin was sitting there. We're literally in a brainstorming session, and I'm like, there's 650 gyms in the United States that left, post-tweet, that continued without CrossFit. How do we get to these 650 gyms? He's like, why don't we use some of our staff? And it's those simple answers that are sitting right in front of you that if we really just focus on the basics, I mean, we'll get there. It's simple, man.
Yeah, it's simple. It's not easy. And I think kind of going back to, I think all roads go through training, in my personal opinion. But where I think is interesting is, so with regard to the goal, is that something you can, like, where, so this is the question is, like, where are we going? To be very blunt, what does that look like from the person in charge of that? Like, what, if you can elaborate on that at all, and not necessarily specifically, but like, what does that look like in 1 to 2 years?
Absolutely. So I think you're going to see, to my point earlier, a lot more cross-functional partnership between EDU and gym. And you mentioned it. Listen, a gating function to becoming an affiliate owner is having your L1. Right. Like, you can't open an affiliate without an L1. And so we've got an incredible top of funnel. And so you're going to see us really structure what that looks like. Today, we're to an extent flying blind, right? Somebody goes to the L1. What's their intent? Are they going there to become a coach? Are they going there to become an affiliate owner? And then what journey do they take after that? So we're going to really structure what that process looks like, so we can provide support, whether they want to be a coach in the form of a hiring network across the U.S. Or globally, I should say, which is a pain point that a lot of affiliate owners share. And so we'll operationalize something that serves that purpose. But also, what are the pain points of opening an affiliate? Real estate is typically one that people bring up. Site identification, lease negotiation, gym layout, having access to startup resources at preferred pricing to help you sustain profitability earlier and more consistently. And so we're really going to try and structure our top of funnel right now, but you're going to, again, see a really focus on the coach. Nicole's team is, and I can't speak to the initiatives in detail, but she's going to really focus on how you upskill that position and create a career progression. Right? Sometimes people don't feel that they can, achieve the professional success that they want to, and that's just not true. And so,
it's not true. It's not true, but I would argue that it is currently very difficult.
Sure.
So it's like one
Right,
of the,
right,
you know,
right.
and going back to the pain point there becomes training.
We
right?
need to make it not true, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Right,
It's
yeah.
not true, but
yeah.
it's kind of true,
Right,
right?
right,
It's like,
right,
hey, you're
right.
not going to see a ton of people paying their mortgage like being a CrossFit trainer.
Exactly.
And that is a travesty in my opinion. So, but I think that comes back to, which is, I'm glad to hear you say this, is, well, if we can create better trainers that either are hire ready,
Yep.
right, that can come in and be an asset
Yep.
to an affiliate owner instead of an affiliate owner who's already, you know, spread thin, worn out, stressed, salty because of the 5 years of, you know, not paying themselves. And then they have to bring somebody on and then mentor them.
Yep.
I mean, that's a lot of what we do is helping them work through that and then get to the point where they're like, all right, now you need to get help.
Yep.
You know, part of like, you know, you're coming in and building a team. It's really hard for an affiliate owner.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very fortunate to have one, but that took 12 years.
Right.
You know, and so that I think is a serious pain point, is a broad enough pool of what I would consider qualified trainers to be
Right.
like, hey, these folks are good to go.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add, sorry to cut you off, Austin, but one thing I'll add is if we can then layer that with resources and leadership skill set upbuilding for affiliate owners in parallel with having them identify potential coaches. I think that's the perfect match, right? It's like if we can teach you how to really fly higher, lead, and create an extension of yourself through your team, right? That allows you to do the things that owners should be doing or want to be doing to limit burnout. Then I think we have the perfect formula. That's why they're complementary of each other.
They are. You have to create a bit. So everybody's like, well, there's nobody that wants to coach CrossFit. I'm like, you've lost your mind.
Right.
I'm like, I know plenty of people that are making $55,000.
Go to the L1s, dude. Yeah, I mean,
but my point is just like every person who's saying that, like they're all affiliate owners. Like, well, I can't find anybody. I'm like, wrong. Like you don't run a business that can provide the opportunity for somebody to come in here, and that is actually the problem. Because if you put it on the street, be like $60K CrossFit coach, somebody's quitting their job immediately to come take that job that they hate.
Yeah, and it's creating the experience. I mean, I got an email from someone I knew that, you know, he's in his mid-50s, full-time career in the field, and you know, he just got laid off, and he's like, I'm going to go into coaching. He goes, you know, I signed up for my level 1. What advice do you have for me? This is, you know, he's got a couple kids, and he's like, CrossFit changed my life, and I just love helping people. Right? They're out there, you know, but it's like any, and I think that what's easy to forget is, it's an experience, and when we think about what happens in a gym, it's a lifestyle, right? It's not a career, it's a lifestyle,
right? So
we need to create environments that are fun to be in. And I just think about just any workplace, any team. If it's fun, and it doesn't mean it's going to be hard work, you know. But if it's fun, you enjoy the people around. Of course, you want to be there. And what that also does is it gets people to want to come and learn before they're qualified. They say, hey, I'll do anything to be here. I'll do anything to learn, to hang out, just to, you know, absorb. And then you start to create your own ecosystem. And that's not easy to do, but that's the goal. But part of that is, what are you doing to create that environment? And also, you have to be okay with, at some point, losing your best. Certainly in a CrossFit gym. And I think like, once you know your business goals and things of that nature, you know that I can't have 15 full-time employees.
Right.
And at some point, if I do my job, I'm going to keep getting you better because I know that the coaching is the most important thing I'm going to upskill on, which means I'm going to give you everything I have, which means if I do my job, you're going to be better than me.
Yeah.
Right.
And then at some point you're going to want more because that's the type of person I want.
Yeah, and that leadership tree, right? The center of influence is how the CrossFit affiliate ecosystem grew.
That's right.
And if we can help replace that person with a qualified candidate, then I think we have that cycle.
Well, I'd be curious, Ruth. I've been rattling around this in my brain for like a couple months, and I was thinking about one thing where I think we may have missed the mark. And when I say we, I'm speaking seminar staff specifically, is if I look at the ecosystem of coaches, so we have red shirts at the top, and I believe those people are world-class coaches. And I'm speaking not even about myself. I'm just like, that cohort of people is amazing. And then where I think is interesting is the gap between them and the affiliate is really, really large, right? The average coach. And I don't think it's anybody's fault, but I think if we look at that and be like, we got to close that gap. There's got to be like a D League or it's not the NFL and then Pee Wee football.
Yeah.
There's the NFL, there's college, there's high school, then there's Pee Wee football, and I feel like we're missing that middle layer where like there's a massive disconnect between what happens in that seminar and then when I walk into an affiliate.
Yeah, and here's a good example, right? So think about you work with a lot of affiliate owners, right? And you get in the nitty gritty, and oftentimes, and I talk to a lot of our affiliates, it's always around, hey, I need help or I want help with the business. And this is things that we've heard, right? We're like, that's why we started the playbook and all these things of, hey, because most of us don't come in to start a CrossFit gym because we're like, man, I crush P&Ls and I can make a nasty business plan.
Peter, what's happening? Now, are you going to go ahead and have those TPS reports for us this afternoon?
So I'm going to do it's like I love CrossFit, I want to change some lives.
JP's the only guy.
Exactly, right? It's like, of course, and you have them, but like you're like, so some people are like, I'm going to find a business partner that knows how to balance the books and do all that stuff, and I'm going to just coach, or I'm going to go into it and just see if enough money comes in the drawer that I can pay out of with my other hand, and so that often becomes the focus because it's our weakest area. So think about this. Our affiliate owners and all of us realize that we need help where we're the weakest. Because, I don't know how to run a business, I need help. Let me get some help. And my hypothesis is over time, we've over-indexed as affiliate owners in that area of weakness. I love it. We needed to do that. But then what did we forget? The reason why we started coaching, right? And so when you step in and someone's like, hey, I need help with this or that, or I get a business coach, awesome. But we need to invest, and I would say over-invest in coaching support.
That's where I was going to go. I think that to some degree it was a miscalculation. Like the business is my worst part. And somebody who, you and I have coached a lot of seminars. If I walk into that affiliate, I'm like, I don't know that it is the weakest part of that business. Like what I'm witnessing right now in the class is not great. And that's not a shot at you, but we do need to be objective about that. Like, listen, if you can make this really good, if you can be the best trainer, and I mean like the best, where people are like, this place is amazing, that will buffer a lot of your business problems. It doesn't mean you can be an idiot at business.
You're exactly right. What if you walk into a facility that's not to the standard that you expect a facility to be, but you have a badass coach, right? That teaches you to be the best version of yourself, helps you achieve fitness, like whatever your goal is, like you'll have blinders on,
right?
But if it's the other way around, you walk into a facility that's top of the line, and you have subpar coaching,
doesn't matter.
It's days are numbered.
That's not what I paid for.
Right, exactly.
I didn't pay for a nice facility. I paid for good coaching.
Yeah, again, you can walk into the nicest gyms out there that are huge, and they have pools and all this other stuff, and everything to a T is beautiful, beautifully run business. I'm uninspired.
Yeah.
Right. And they're someone's just clapping at me, giving me the thumbs up from the corner of the room, right? Like so that's the aggressive example.
I like to take everything back to the level one, and if we think about this idea of the affiliate, there's this we'll talk about technique and intensity, right? It's not either or, right? And when we're looking at the affiliate, it's not either or.
That's right.
It's not just business and it's not just coaching.
Both and.
It's
right?
both.
Yeah.
It's both, and you need to do both exceptionally well. And I think there's a little bit of lack of awareness overall in the community about where we need to the standard we need to hold ourselves from a coaching standard. Say, listen, the methodology is amazing. And even if you're really bad at it, we could agree, like, it still works and it will still be effective. You could still change lives. Like, that's the double-edged sword of the whole thing. However, we should still get better.
Yep.
And that's where we need to double down. It's not just be like, hey, listen, I can give you all the marketing plans in the world and you can run, all this, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to matter if you can't run a great class that people enjoy being at, that keeps people safe and gets them fit. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, and this is, we were at an affiliate gathering, and I got a really great question about, like, hey, like, I have a coaching staff, a lot of them, and they were honest with me, like, some of them don't keep their credentials up to date, because they often like, well, why should I do that? Is it going to make me more money, right? Like, so like, and like, what do I do? And I asked this owner, I said, well, do you have your level 3? He said, no. I was like, all right, well, why not? And he's like, and we had it was an hour-long conversation. I said, the level 3, I say that not because if you don't have it, you're not a good coach, or if you have it, you're a good coach, but it sets a standard and a tone, but it also does something very important for the economic decision for you and your actual education in your gym. And once you study and take your level 3, you've set the standard that's if you as the owner, you have that expectation, right? You also now can dictate what you are learning and how you are learning it from a CEU perspective, which is financially the smartest thing to do. It also allows you to directly work on your areas of weakness. But more importantly, now you can to get your coaches to do that. And all, simply, it's like if you're worried about it, we'll just, give them a $5 an hour raise if they get their level 2. Then if they get their level 3, right? You can incentivize that, and they're going to be better and pay for it for them. Well, how do you know if they're not going to leave? You don't. But
it's
like,
the wrong question.
But
right? Make an environment that they'll stay instead of being worried about that they're going to leave.
And what will start to happen is you now will be in charge of what you're doing, and you're going to do this because you want to deliver a good class. Well, we're all good at different things and not good at different things. I mean, you struggle coaching, like rope climbs or handstand push-ups. Well, you can go to a gymnastic course, and now over time you can start to bolster things that you struggle with, and your people will start to see that, and you can hold that standard. So there is a business decision to higher education. So within our ecosystem. You have to pull back the layers. Because
we were talking to Nicole Christensen about this, and so part like in Affiliate U, where we work with people, like that's one of our kind of like unwritten goals for people when they come into the course. We want you to either have scheduled or achieved your level 3, not because I think that that's required. I personally think you should do that, but what it does is it lets me know that you have what I'll say is a very strong understanding of the CrossFit methodology in the ecosystem, at which point I know I can assume some things about the degree with which you're pushing your staff and the expectation that you hold within the facility. And a lot of people that are struggling in the affiliate, a lot of it has to do, it comes back to, again, we can reverse it all the way back to training, is like you don't understand CrossFit well enough. Yeah. And I say that, and in the same breath, I'll say I don't think it should be required, because then you would never open an affiliate.
I think it comes down, if it's important to the affiliate owner, it's going to be important to the people that work within it. Right. Like, and that's what leadership is.
Right.
And I always say, throughout my career, and I say, to this day, is care as much, if not more, about the people that surround you than you do yourself. Be selfless, right? And so that also is manifested in the affiliate. It's like if you look at somebody who's really, really interested in taking this path through coaching, invest in them, right? And that'll come back to you, right? In the form of members, retention, growth, all
or
of those
it might
things.
not, but that's not the point. It might not on that person, but it will on the next person, and it will on the following 8. And like sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's fine.
Yep.
And I think there's a really important.
But we would agree it works out more than it doesn't.
That's my point, right? Is that like
but
people,
if you don't do it doesn't work.
Right.
Correct.
I mean, right. It's like you got to do it, to at least expect some return there.
And you look at the roots of the world, right? CrossFit Rife. You look at Diablo, like all of these gyms across the ecosystem that have been around, CrossFit Louvre, Daniel. They invest the hell out of their coaches, right? Because that's the power in what makes people want to stay in building community.
Well, it creates consistency. It creates true professionals, and you could again bring this all the way back to is like most people struggle because you have part-timers who are doing this on the side, who don't have the time and resources to invest in that. But if you've got people like, this is what they eat, sleep, and breathe, they wake up, they do CrossFit, they coach CrossFit, this is how they pay the bills, well, they're going to be better.
And Fern, it creates consistency with different member experiences, which is the power of CrossFit, right? In the affiliate model. It's like you walk into Diablo, you're going to have a different experience than when you walk into CrossFit
100%.
Rife, but you're going to get coached.
Both will be awesome,
right? Incredible experience. So if we can create that environment in the 155 countries that we operate in, no one's catching us.
So that's a good segue. So we were kind of talking about this before the workout, but the differences I want to talk a little bit more about in North America. But like, there's pretty distinct differences in the kind of the community vibe versus. We'll just call it everywhere, with the exception of North America. I think that's a fair assessment. What do you guys see there, and then what do you guys have in store for that? Because I do think that there is I don't even know how to describe it, but maybe like a broken, or I don't know but something about that relationship between affiliates in the States is off. Yep, it's like some weird sort of like abusive or relationship there, and I don't know what it is.
I'll let Austin speak to that because I'm interested to hear what he's going to. No, I'm just kidding.
This is it, Austin. Don't get fired.
Outside of the U.S., I would agree with you. Right, they're not as close to the noise that's been going on, and they've also been led by these country managers who has essentially made CrossFit their own business in these markets. They have their own Instagram handles. They have their own communities. There's the excitement created. They've got credible partnerships, and it's literally a different experience when you go out there. Eric, myself, and our president, Jason Dunlop, went to 7 European countries in 11 days, and it was incredibly eye-opening for me to go from market to market, and there'd be such different approaches to the business. Italy is an example, really focused on the competition aspect of CrossFit. The UK really focused on the family-oriented aspect of CrossFit, and each of those markets really doubled down in those areas, and that was because of the country managers really understanding what their consumer or what their affiliates wanted. And so, but yeah, I'd let Austin touch on North America.
And I think it's a lot of that too is to the point of CrossFit started here, right? And so we have we have a lot of our gyms. I mean, over half of them are 7 years or older, which is really and majority of those are in North America, and also the last 2 years, and I would even say the last 5 years for CrossFit in general has been really hard on a lot of just of the affiliate owners that have been around a while. There's been a lot of change, a lot of things that have been all of these things. You look back, made things just uneasy, right? Where things that you knew changed or were gone, and that was almost like it was rolling punches for all of us, whether we're affiliate owners, we're coaches, we're athletes, whatever. We all felt it. But affiliate owners at the epicenter, because all of that comes down to you. I'm running my business. I have athletes. I love CrossFit, and we also, what's so amazing about North America is the amazing amount of diversity from owners that we have, from where you actually have a gym. Right. I mean, when you think about that, like you could be in the center of New York City or Boston, or you could be in, rural middle of nowhere and run and having a thriving gym. And to Gary's point is like they're completely different business models, communities, and so everything affects them differently. And in turn, where we are now is everyone is feeling different, but. And there's a majority of just like head down forward. I'm just getting my job done, right? And there's always that, but I would say that we've talked to a lot of gyms, and a lot of owners just they want to talk and they want to be heard, and that's really what I would say. Like what you've been doing for the last year, talking, more specifically listening. And 29 minutes of listening, 1 minute of I love you too. We'll see you out there, right? And and the biggest thing is it's communication has never been the strong point to affiliate owners, and also from affiliate owners to us, and that was almost by design, right? Like I think about when I first became an affiliate, it wasn't even a thought process. I became an affiliate, and I didn't really expect anything from a communication.
I didn't.
Nothing, and I never expected to communicate back. I just had to do what I needed to do to be an affiliate, and that was great. And now it's because of all of the things that have changed. It's communications become more expected. I think that's a good thing.
I think it's great.
But with that said, it's people have been affected very differently by the last 2 years specifically, and some people are upset, some people are excited, some people just have no idea what's going on because they've been so out of the loop from communication because that's sort of the way it was. And now we're sort of rebuilding, sort of like, hey, here's our hand. Come grab it. Well, where's your hand? It's right here. I don't see your hand. Right? A lot of us, we're not even able to like grab onto someone because once I get you on the phone, once our team gets you on the phone, like it's oftentimes a great conversation. Some people have been, they feel like, hey, it's irreparable damage, or I'm just not okay with whatever, or I'm over it or beyond it. And I think you see that a lot in North America. I am of the firm belief, and maybe I'm just an eternal optimist, that a lot of it will come back to why you started, and I think that's kind of what we were talking about. I was like, hey, what is CrossFit? Why did we become affiliates? And that's.
I think if I could just add to that, all of those things are true. I think we need to listen and ask, what the problem is, and we're planning to do that. I would also say, being self-reflective, like where's our edge? and
that's what I think makes people very uneasy.
Yeah,
They're just
and-
like, man, this used to be like a group that was like, to some extent, like too aggressive. Where it's just like, but it was ready to scrap.
You need to balance all things, right? But like, where's our edge? And we're gonna take it back, man. The narrative's being written by people other than us, and that's not okay. And so my team and I, we haven't shared this, but I will right now. We're gonna go on the road, and we're gonna listen and learn, and we're gonna talk to affiliates, and it's not gonna be flashy. We're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to work out. We're going to sit in back of boxes, invite affiliate owners, and we're just going to have candid conversation. And I promise we'll take the narrative back.
You can host right here.
We would love to. But there's no team that cares more than us. And I'm not saying we care more than anybody else outside. I think we all care equally the same, but we will work incredibly hard to find those answers and operationalize tactics to take advantage of them.
Well, I think that is one of the things that's been missing. And this actually was, I think, true prior to the pandemic. So Austin, you've been around long enough. Like there's kind of like an old era where there was much more community engagement. When I say community, I mean just like locally, like where like people were getting together and they were doing the CrossFit thing. And then over the years that people started to retract and they started to retract and they started to retract to the point where I will go to cities or talk to box owners where there will be 7 or 8 box owners in that city who don't know each other.
Right.
And I think you guys going on the road with your team specifically to re-engage that to people so that people feel like they're a part of a broader community and they're not sitting on an island. Because like, to your point about North America is like, yes, we are the closest, but I don't think it would be unreasonable to say that they feel the most distant because of that.
And I do want to call out our U.S. reps. Man, they've done an incredible job with the resources they've been given. That team's led by Danielle Hale, who's in charge of our community engagement department. And they've been saying this all along. It's like, you got to get out there, right? And Austin's been saying it. Austin,
and it's been hard.
Paul,
I mean, that's
Paul Tremblay and Jordan Holland. Like every conversation we have, it's like, you guys got to get out there. You got to get out there, but you can't be scripted, right? You've got to be open, honest, vulnerable, and talk about it. And if it's something they don't want to hear, be okay to say it, right?
Right.
But stand behind it. Be confident. Be open to feedback, and that's what we're going to do.
Not dates, but like pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty soon.
Okay.
So we'll probably do some sort of an announcement and talk about it. But again, this isn't about us checking a box and complying. Right. That's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to announce we're going on this tour. We're going to say those things. We're going to show up in markets. And the sole reason to do that is because we need to hear what we need to be doing better. And we need to share about what we're going to do. Right. And if there's conflict there, let's hear about it so we can course correct. But again, it's all in an effort to take the narrative back, even if it's the narrative we don't want to hear. We've got to control it. But also let's get our edge back and show people that we can roll up our sleeves and go along this journey with you, right? It's not us versus them. It's a partnership.
Go ahead.
Well, and I just think, to that point of like, I just think about like our U.S. reps, Danielle and team, our regional and country managers.
Yeah.
It's, what I tell people when I'm on the phone with them oftentimes is like, you will, and I will stand behind this. You will never find a group of people that care about affiliates more. I mean, that's literally all we think about is how does this affect our affiliates? How will this affect you as gym owners? Now, we will not always get it right and we'll make mistakes, but we'll like own it. Like, hey, all right, but like our guiding tenet is how does this affect you?
Right.
And that's something that I think it's easy to forget or not think about, but like we have people that are nonstop thinking about how we can help and support. And because we get it. Right, we get that it's been a wild ride, and we just want some consistency. And that's all we're thinking about. So what can we provide? What are the tools and resources? Whatever it might be, it is our sole purpose to, and as Gary always says, be an unquestioned business partner, and like just we're here. And it's amazing is that you talk to any single one of the individuals on our team, they'll say, hey, they'll talk. You hear them talk to affiliates like, here's my email, here's my phone number, call me. And that alone, like that's really special, and you don't get that in any other type of environment. Normally, it's like, well, we're here,
right?
And we've got an obligation to share what we're going to do. Like the rules of engagement have changed, right? We can't operate in a black box and roll stuff out, and so you'll start to see that in the town hall in a couple weeks. literally all, business owners, Nicole, myself, and Justin are going to walk through our vision and our plan. So you guys, as affiliate owners, understand what's coming.
That I think would go a tremendous way.
Yeah.
And I think because that's where a lot of people have been sitting around, and it's the question just what is going on
Right.
and where are we going?
Right.
And I think if people can just see that, they're like, okay, cool, I'm in. Like I'm on board. Like I just there was just so much, lack of just sureness of like what is happening right now. So that's exciting.
Desire for to just feel stable.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we've gone through 2.5 years of instability.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh my God, can we just can we not live in clown world for just 5 minutes?
Right.
Like, can we just have something that's stable? So I think that's really. When is the town hall?
It's in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. Give or take. We'll announce it over the next week.
Yeah.
But it'll be within.
So there hasn't been an actual date.
There hasn't.
Okay.
Has not been an announcement.
Okay. That's cool. I think that will go a long way, and I think. All the people that I talk to, that's always the question. To be like, yeah, we just don't like where are we going, man? And I think that's really great, and I think that will.
And again, I said this earlier. For the first time since I've been here, all 3 business lines have been working incredibly close together to make sure that our stories are aligned. We're not doing duplicative efforts, and we're all trying to solve and uplifting the coach, right? That is the core of our guiding principle, and you'll see that reflected in our roadmaps.
I think if you're just objective pullback, it's kind of like we had this pendulum that swung too far in both directions, and it sounds to me like everybody's probably acknowledged that, and we're like, hey, let's bring this thing center.
Yeah.
So for all of Greg's flaws, I mean, like. Listen, he was all in on like the methodology and for what it does against chronic disease, and then maybe we swung the pendulum too far, and it's just like business. It's like, well, we can't leave this other thing behind. Yeah, like that's what got us here. Like, let's just have a balance of both. Yeah. Same thing for the affiliate, the business and the methodology. So I think that's great.
There's an art and a science to it, right? Like, and you've got to balance both. And for me, I've never in my career ever woke up and looked at like a packed calendar that would leave most people nauseous and been super excited to take it on. And that's what I do every single day. Like I'm crazy, but like I pinch myself every single day.
Yeah.
Like this is my dream job. I have my dream job. I get to support a community that I love so much. We don't have all the answers. We know we don't. But man, we can sit at the table and support, the hardest working men and women in any industry. I honestly feel that way because they change and impact lives on a daily basis. Where else can you find that? And so we've got a lot of work to do. I will say the business is in a really healthy spot. And if we can just course correct a couple areas and go on this journey with our affiliate owners, I mean, we're going to be unstoppable. We literally are.
Is there a goal for affiliate growth?
Yeah, so we want to hit. We've got about a 15% goal this year.
Okay.
Over-indexed outside of the U.S. Because we had not seen the numbers kind of hit where they are right now in the U.S. So we're in a really good place. We're off to an incredible start to start the year. There's a ton of pent-up demand from an application funnel perspective, which is incredibly exciting.
Is that specific to a region?
Yeah, it's I would say probably 40% in the United States, 60% non-U.S. markets.
Okay. What's the fastest growing region?
Our top non-U.S. markets, we've got France, Italy, Spain, and UK, and Australia are growing really, really fast.
Okay.
Yeah, which is crazy because traditionally those are our largest markets outside of the U.S.
Right.
Ricardinho Prudenti, who's on staff, is our country manager in Brazil. He's stabilizing that market really, really nicely. That was traditionally our second largest market. It's probably our 5th or 6th right now.
Can we stay there for a second?
Yeah.
So so we've talked to quite a few boxes down there. Is there some sort of at least thought or process? Obviously, there's massive financial hurdles, and there's regions. Is that something you can talk about, like, or at least some things you're considering?
Absolutely. So one of the first things that I did when I came here is created global pricing for our markets that where there was volatility with currency and exchange rate and all of those things. And so their affiliate fee is already $2,250. Like that. Okay. Yeah. So we already lowered that for them. We obviously allow monthly installments.
That's almost a 30% decrease.
Exactly. Yeah. And it, based on the exchange rate, it's still tough, right? For them to achieve. Argentina, it's $1,500.
Okay.
Because of their currency value. And one thing that we're really focused on is having them be able to pay in local currency. Right.
Got it.
And so right now they have to pay in USD. They need an international credit card. There's a 6% tax on top of that.
Got it.
So it continues to drive it up. And so we're working tirelessly to try and give them that payment option to pay in reais. And Ricardinho is an incredibly strong voice for that.
I mean, he's the godfather of Brazil.
Yeah, he makes me so happy. Even when he's upset at me, he's talking, I leave the call and I'm like, man,
he has such good hair.
It's great hair.
The best hair.
The
best hair.
But he is such an advocate for that community.
We use movement to build relationships, and if people understand that, like there's a lot of actions that when we are so focused on movement, when we think about relationship first, there's a lot of behaviors that don't fit with that. So I think that's the main part of the reason that we could have a successful gym there.
And, the affiliate partnership network we talked about, he's brought some really cool partners to the table. Operating a business outside of Brazil and shipping, it's a very, very tough market.
Hawaii has the same issue. Yeah.
And so we're going to announce a couple partners there. There's also, using the mark and not paying for the mark is a challenge in Brazil, and one that Ricardinho has doubled down on.
Okay.
So we found a lot of opportunity there, and so really proud about what he's doing in the market, and we'll see a lot of great things come to LATAM.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think the APN is great.
Yeah.
And if affiliate owners are looking at this and haven't looked into that, I think it's long overdue, obviously, but I'm glad it's there. And I think there are some hidden gems in there that still need a little bit of unpacking with regard to specifically speaking to some of the insurance partners in there. I think it's a fantastic idea. Unpacking it is a whole different story.
Yep.
I'm currently working through it, and if I figure it out, I'll let everybody know. But it's not as simple as it seems. I love the idea, but it is that can be a little bit. And the reason I bring that up is because it's an awesome idea. However, just me going through it and trying to figure out like strategically how to use it. How do I make this work? How do I reach out? How do I find all of this stuff?
Yep.
The average gym owner doesn't have that bandwidth. I'm like, it's a good idea that I'll quite literally never.
You're
get
talking
to.
about accessing the
like Optum, and then there's some other resources that are same pipeline, different.
It's so funny you mentioned that. We had a meeting the other day, and it's like we're just really struggling communicating with the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our systems, whether or not people are the right point of contact within the gym,
right?
But they're the LOR on paper, and are they a member of our channels in social? In terms of social, like where do we start promoting these brands? Because obviously it's in an effort to help the affiliate owner, but you have to be really tasteful in how you do it. We're not a sales organization,
right?
And we're not here to promote other partners. We need to promote value, and so we're really working.
I mean, I think of them as tools. It's like, hey, listen, like you don't have to use this thing, but it's there if you want it. Like I look at the Optum thing, and for anybody that doesn't know what that is, essentially like subsidized gym memberships via insurance providers, which is great. And it is a tool. However, you have to figure out how to use the tool, right? And that's where I think there's maybe a little bit of disconnect. And this is in any business. Is like I have a thought. First thing I do is just throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. And then
that's exactly what we did.
Right. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's just context, right? Just like people. I think people assumed that these were full finished thoughts, and they're like, no, like this is an ongoing thought that we will continue to refine over time.
Yeah, and me being vulnerable with you, I think we're a hard charging group, and we wanted to come in and make noise and provide value quickly. If there's one thing that I could be critical of myself on is like we got to slow down. We've got to pick a few things and do them really, really well. And so you'll see that shift over the next year.
Well, I appreciate that. As an affiliate, and I appreciate that. But I also don't think it was. I don't think it was the wrong approach. I think it was probably was necessary, based on what the current environment was at the time. It's like nobody would have been super pumped if you'd have come in and slow rolled that.
They'd be like, that was not an option.
They would have been like, "What are you guys doing? Let's get to it." So I think it was. I think it was
a Soul Cycle guy in here just taking his time.
So we have to buy these bikes now.
Right.
So no, I think it was just. I think it was just part of the process, and I try to look at everything pretty objectively. Because I'm obviously a affiliate owner. I still work for CrossFit in the training department, and I work with a lot of people who have no attachment to the company whatsoever. So I try to look at it through that full lens, and I'm like, they're moving in the right direction. Like, this is a way harder ship to steer than most people would consider, and I just appreciate the effort.
I got to be
and all
honest
that
with you,
stuff.
man. Outside looking in, you have no idea. I mean, you guys know, but I mean, you come into this business, it's incredibly complex. I mean, just the relationships, the models, and so and the making sure that you acknowledge the community before you make a decision, right? And how do you?
Which is weird, by the way.
It's unlike any other business.
Yeah,
right?
we do have to acknowledge that. People are like, businesses, all businesses are the same enough. I was like, they're not. And CrossFit is unique in that sense, where it is privately held. However, the community gets a say.
Yeah.
Because if they don't like it, that's it, man. And that's got to be a real tough line to walk.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you're trying to operate a business and trying to create something that's sustainable and has a growth on it, but I can't ignore the voices over here.
Yep.
And I think that, like, you take the APN, for example, right? Like, I often think, I'm like, well, what, like, how could it have been better? How can it be better? It's still growing. I mean, it's literally, brand new, 5 months old. But I think, well,
I mean, the Good Earth thing alone is worth it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
Cassidy was like, what is wrong with you? He's like, why did you buy 900 rolls of toilet paper? Because I could, dude. Because it was like $20.
Right. Awesome. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
But
but
that's the non-sexy part of the APN, man.
It's my favorite part of the APN.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone's like, why?
You love toilet paper.
I just it's toilet paper and soap. It's great. So we even put markers in there. Come on. But
I was like, wipes for 25%. I was like, buy 18 rolls of that.
I just remember, I was like, can we put Expo markers in there? They're like, yeah. I'm like, great. Because I just want nice markers for the whiteboard.
So good.
Right. But hearing, I think what's really important is the only way for us to actually make something that is, perfectly fit for our unbelievably vast community is to roll it out and to listen and optimize, right? It would be foolish and arrogant of us to think that we can roll something out and expect it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that, so when we think about this, it's, well, we're going to hear it, and if some people are not going to like it, some people will struggle with it. Okay, let's figure out how to optimize that, and also it will shape other things we're doing. So we'll, if our target spreads all over the place now, over time it still won't be all bullseye, but it'll be tighter, right?
And that's right. If I could give some advice, the only thing I would recommend is kind of what we were alluding to earlier, is just like, and I'm not saying that like the red shirts need to be the approve result thing. That's not what I'm saying, but just use that cohort of people. Yeah. Just be like, hey guys, like we're considering this. Just like send us some feedback, because people will shoot holes in. I mean, you know how the red shirts are. They're just like, like maybe push that one off to the side. And I think you could trim the fat off of those ideas and get to an end state that would be more optimal, faster. In that regard.
And I think there's there's weight behind being able to say that it has been vetted by red shirts when it's rolled out, right?
I don't disagree at all.
Yeah, it's like
it has some validity to it at that point.
Right, right. And so, and that's why my team, I think 75% of my team, they're red shirts.
Yeah, and affiliate owners.
Yeah, but
that's great.
There's still so many more that we can have access to in the countries that we operate in, right? And so that's what's so powerful. And underutilized, in my opinion, because
it's a feedback loop, right? Where I just think that like when you're at seminars, it's you listen and you hear a lot, right? I mean, if I just think about programming, right? There's not a program that exists today that didn't come from people getting asked to get programmed for. Hey, can I get your programming?
Right.
It was never like, I'm going to make programming because people want it.
Right.
It was, can I do your programming? I think that's really cool.
Right.
And then this started, right? That's a really good example of, and then the programming marketplace emerged. Hey, can I get some help running my business? And then that market emerged, and and that's where, and you hear that all of the time. Hey, I'm struggling finding coaches, right? Like it's and that's at that ground floor, and that's the beauty of the seminars. It's it's sort of like a chicken and the egg type of thing, but the seminar is where we all started, and we go back to that too. I can't say enough about the level 1 kernel. We talk about it a lot, but even for your level 3, I tell people, hey, if you can swing it, go back to your level 1. A week or two before you actually test, because you'll
be better off for it.
You'll be better off for it. Reread your level 1 manual once a quarter. You do that, you're going to remember things that you might have forgotten because life got busy and crazy, and that's not a fault on you. It's just the reality of life. You're going to realize, oh wow, that's like, I got to get back to that.
And I think that sounds daunting. So from a practical application, here's what I would recommend people do. Like, how do
Well,
I
you're
do
talking
that?
to Austin, you know?
Well, but I mean, but I'm just from an affiliate owner who's
Yeah.
just like, listen, dude, I don't have time to go back and read level one manual. Like, but I've had a couple affiliate owners who've done this recently where I'm like, present that information to your members. Like, you're studying it. How about you just do a workshop on the weekend and just talk to people about what is fitness and just walk through that lecture or that article. People will love it. Like, that information is gold, and most of your members have no concept of what it is.
I mean, when I took the L1, I walked out, I was like, Jesus. I mean, it was incredibly powerful. Yeah. I mean,
I had a member here, she was here for 7 years, and she literally thought I just, like, on the weekends went out and, like, had, like, 2 people sit in a room and, like, and I would talk about CrossFit for 2 days. And I brought her into the level 1, and she was like, oh, like, this is a legit
that's cool
thing, and I'm blown away by this. And I think that is something affiliate owners could do, is like, because it's mutually beneficial to both parties, right? Like, it adds to my professional development, but I'm also educating the clientele, and there's nothing better than smart clientele on your product. Like, that's 100%. How you get people to stick around.
I mean, and that's why, you know, it's having members, and that's what I usually get the question: what do you do when a member starts coaching another member in a class? I'm like, you know, I love it, and they're like, well, what if it's wrong? I'm like, you know, I've never found out anyone that's trying to hurt someone. You know, like, no, they might be telling them something that's not effective. They, you know, even if it's wrong, but like, it comes from a place of care.
Right.
And human interaction and connection around actual movement is so rare outside of a gym. Is that this is so special that I'll make sure that no one's moving like a motor moron. I'll keep them safe. But I'm
not going to let anything unsafe happen here. Relax.
But the fact that you know Bob is helping Sally like where to put their hands on the bar. I'm like, that doesn't happen anywhere.
Right.
That's special, right? And one that you've empowered your people to want to help, and that people are humble enough to receive help. There's so much in that relationship that says something about your gym. I say, embrace it. Nice job. Right. And you know, because that's a reflection of you. And now, like anything, you're the coach, control the room. You should have managed all that good stuff. But it's special.
Yeah.
Those are the things that separate, and people leave that like, oh, this place is cool. Right? You create a community that is a reflection of you, but it's not dependent on you. And that's something that's really special that happens in a CrossFit gym.
What are you guys most excited about coming up? More specifically you, Gary, because you're the one driving the ship. So if it crashes, I'm going to call you.
Listen, I'm going all in. So if it crashes, I'll be okay with it because I gave everything I had. Here's what I'm most excited about is to work incredibly close with Nicole, and take advantage of the efficiencies that we can have as a unit. You know, you said access to seminar staff, but it doesn't just stop there. Nicole is an incredibly talented leader and somebody who's been around this industry for so long, and so I greatly respect her. She has helped me ramp up and been such a strong supporter. So to be able to work extremely close with her over the next few years is really, really exciting for me, because I think our orgs complement each other so well. And if we're going to do what we all know we can do, it's going to be because we take advantage of that. And so that's what I'm most excited about. I think the growth outside the U.S. is so exciting to see. And if we can just, to your point, take back what was special in this market, we've got such a bright future.
I think Craig Howard had brought it up in a podcast recently. He's like, hey, what do you want from CrossFit? He's like, I want him to not tarnish the name and then like help it grow. Like that's the two things that I think everybody wants. And I think, what I'm excited about is that, folks like you who are fully invested in CrossFit, like guys like Austin are in there and like, hey, we're driving this thing forward. And then very candidly, like I'm a huge Nicole fan, have been for years, I may or may not have gotten drunk at one of the summits and told her she's the best speaker of all time. But
she is a good speaker.
She's a great speaker. Yeah. But I'm excited that somebody like Nicole, with Nicole's background and with Nicole's experience in the company, is going to be more involved in the direction of CrossFit. And I think, if nothing else outside of that, people should take a lot of stock in that, and you should know that like we're moving in the right direction at this point.
Yeah, sure. I mean, her decision making and thought process is so pure, and it's so committed to what's true about this this methodology in business, that nothing is going to get past her that jeopardizes that. Like, I can confidently say that.
Yeah.
And so, her having a seat at the table for me is also equally as powerful. And so that's why I'm really confident that the next few years is going to be really exciting.
I think that's awesome. I think everything you guys are doing, this is a great conversation. I think this is a refreshing conversation for a lot of people that are going to listen. Affiliate owners, coaches, they're like, all right, I feel better about this. I look forward to the town hall announcement, the tour, the U.S. tour, the growth of the APN. I think all that stuff is fantastic. And, again, like, thank you guys for coming here and taking the time to come here and do this. I know you guys are busy and have important things to do, but also thank you guys for what you're doing for the overall, community. If there's anything, we as affiliates can do, or, us for the podcast that we can help you guys with, like,
awesome.
We will fully volunteer our time and resources to promote the word and help that, because we are all in on CrossFit. So thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah, man. Likewise. And I appreciate you kicking our ass this morning in that workout.
It's a great
awesome.
workout.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. See you guys next time. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.